everyone, welcome back to another Magical Girl video. After covering a fully live-action series and a half live-action, half animated Chinese series, I thought I'd make my next Magical Girl video a simple anime review. So do you guys recognize this image? It's pretty infamous in the anime community. This lovely little abomination comes from the Magical Girl anime Kamichama Karin, a manga and anime series from the mid-2000s about an unfortunate girl who awakens her magical girl goddess powers thanks to her encounter with another orphan and that orphan's stuck-up cousin. Sounds like a decent shoujo, right? Well, we're going to find out if it is together because no one wants to look past the memes. One hilarious frame doesn't mean the entire show sucks, and I'm really hoping I can recommend Kamichama Karin by the end of this video.
Satelight.
The studio who brought Karin to life has also worked on anime like Fairy Tail and Shuko-chara, so it's not like this is some random studio with no other credits. Plus, look at Karin's dress! How could this show not be good? She looks adorable! The anime begins with an ongoing battle. Karin and a little boy have found a seed of chaos. Before they can get hurt, 3 magical boys transform and fight. Child me would have been obsessed already. However, the boys aren't strong enough and Karin finally decides to transform herself. You're what now? Living for the confidence. But she too fails and is sent back to the past. Specifically the moment where her cat, her only friend, died. Karin is constantly put down by her aunt, her parents are dead, and she lost her bestie. Welcome to the club. The blonde boy from before, named Kazune, finds Karin and is immediately a jerk to her as well. She's so real for that. The next day, despite trying to remain positive, Karin fails at everything. It's when she snaps that she runs into a beautiful girl, and they become friends. Himeka even gives Karin a makeover, which is the first time we see her with her iconic pigtails. So cute. Karin opens up about her orphan trauma, and Himeka is like, oh my gosh, same! And then we meet the cousin she's living with. It's that jerk from before, and she instantly punches him once again. A little overkill, but sexism is no good. Himeka asks Kazune if Karin might be the goddess they're looking for, which Kazune shuts down until he sees her ring. With a bright pink light, Karin's power awakens and freaks her out. I can't explain the next scene, so just watch it.
Karin-chan, ohayo. Doushitta no, Karin-chan? なんか今日はいつもと違う。髪型とか変わって可愛いんだけど、それだけじゃなくて。そう？別に何もしてないんだけど。なんだろう。この体から満ち溢れるエネルギー。
What is going on? Why did she make that face? This show is so unserious. Soon it's time for gym class and Karin doesn't want to go. So she playfully remarks that she wishes it would rain. Despite it being a clear day, her wish comes true within seconds. Karin has a little crisis once she's home due to her weird day and the loss of her cat, but soon picks herself up, reminding herself that she has a new friend. Life can only get better. Speaking of the new friend, Himeka drops by and Karin suggests that they hang out tomorrow, but Himeka informs her that she'll no longer be in town, as her and her cousin were only here for business. Karin takes this well, and she does her best to see her new friend off. Kazune is there too, and he voices his worries about Karin's potential power, eventually showing his kinder side. When they leave, Karin returns to her cat's resting spot, remarking that she is truly alone. Except she isn't! But we'll have to watch episode 2 to find out who this mystery man is and what he wants with Karin. Overall, episode 1 is an interesting introduction. Kamichama Karin has a cool setup that doesn't give a lot away too early, which I appreciate. The only thing I didn't like is the intro song. It's not very good. That's not something I'll hold against the show though, because I'm genuinely invested in the story and I like the characters so far. Episode 2 picks up right where the first left off. This grown man is a whole stalker. He offers to bring back Karin's cat if she gives up her ring. But before she can give it up, Kazune appears and saves her from being tricked. This results in a fight between the two. 実力行使とさせてもらおうか! Karen's asking the real question. Himeka comes to check on Karen as well and tries to lead her to safety, but goes the wrong way. Luckily, this works, and after Kazune scolds the girls, he promises to tell Karen everything about this goddess thing. After another funny scene between the girls, Kazune tells Karen about where she got her powers, what she needs to do with them, and why that glasses guy wants her ring. But then Himeka disappears! Of course, the glasses guy lured her out, and Karen and Kazune have to save her. But she seems fine. Himeka was catching butterflies instead of being properly kidnapped? What is going on? Glasses guy gets mad again, and we get the most emotionally intense scene I've ever seen. I meant that sarcastically. But regardless, Karen's powers awaken completely, and we get such a fun transformation. Although her final look is giving Wicked/Wizard of Oz. From here, Kazune begins teaching Karen how to use her powers. Karen will be attending the same school as Kazune and Himeka, and Karen finally has people who genuinely care about her, even if one isn't the best at showing it. Most episodes in the series consist of the cast getting into wacky situations as Kiryu, who Karen just calls the glasses guy, tries to defeat her or Kazune depending on the day. Despite being a prominent bad guy throughout most of the series, he's mostly played up for laughs. He wears goofy disguises, hates when the main characters don't call him by his name, and his plans are often very flawed. I'll give an example, the beach episode. Kiryu wants to steal Karen's ring, so he gets some scuba gear and tries to snatch it underwater, but he grabs her bikini top instead. A lot of shows would make this into a major creepy moment, and Karen reacts accordingly by beating his ass. But the entire time, even after he's been beaten, he doesn't realize that he didn't steal the ring. Kiryu is so dumb, and is so obsessed with gaining power, that he's inept, and it's kind of funny. If he was played as a creepy, lustful guy, like another character, I would absolutely hate him. But he's a silly, goofy villain who is not physical with these young-looking characters, so he gets a pass. Often he's encouraged by his sibling Kirika to not be in such a rush to get those rings, despite why they need them. We'll get into that in a minute. A really great episode takes place early on. It's about the group helping with their school festival. But oh no! Karen has invited Kirika, thinking she would wear a super cute but inappropriate costume for a teeny tiny underage girl. But she switched into a more appropriate, albeit unflattering, sumo costume after Himeka was torn down by the person she loves most. This better not be what I think it is. So most of the episode is silly shenanigans until Karen finally gets a change of clothes thanks to Kazune and gets to dance with her crush. Except it was all a plot to steal her ring. They get it back, of course, but the series is filled with episodes that you think are going to be boring filler, and they end up having some insane plot reveals and moments you would not expect from a show that looks like this. Now we're getting into spoiler territory. Skip to this time if you don't want the anime ruined for you. I'm telling you, this show is an absolute roller coaster. So, Kiryu is not just a silly goofy villain here for a fun time. He's actually fighting Kazune and Karen for a reason, and that reason is Himeka. His Himeka. There's two of them. Both Himekas are technically the same person, but were split apart for reasons that we'll find out later. All you need to know right now is that whichever side wins will possibly keep their Himeka. No guarantee, but that possibility is why they fight. This is the main conflict for most of the series. Both sides are trying to save their Himeka with the power of these god rings, all while dealing with normal school troubles, friendship, and crushes. Does Karen really like Kirika? Or is she starting to fall for Kazune? Or maybe she likes Michi because he's a bisexual flirt. This man is horrible representation because he just kisses people out of nowhere. But he's relevant to the plot because, he has a god ring! So for a good portion of the series, it's 2 against 2. But when Michi arrives, it's 3 against 2. As he sides with Karen and Kazune because of his connection to Kazune's dad. Now our heroes must be unstoppable, right? Well, no. First, Michi is having a hard time getting his ring to work, meaning he can't transform. Second, Kazune is slowly becoming unable to use his power due to the after effects on his body. Throughout the series, we're shown that Kazune's power is slowly making him weaker. This conflict hits its peak during episode 21, where Kazune destroys Kiryo's ring, but becomes so physically weak afterwards that he doesn't wake up for over a week. With a weak Kazune and a ringless Kiryo, Kamichama Karin's last few episodes shift into maximum insanity. So while Kazune is in a coma, Karin reunites with Suzune, and meets a second Kazune. She acts like the first one isn't right behind her. Anyway, they fly out of the bedroom window and hang out at the summer festival, as Suzune gives us some foreshadowing.
Do I look?
After a sweet moment between the two, the real Kazune finds them and tells them to scram. Both Kazune and Karin wake up and talk about their shared dream before getting ready for the real festival. However, the actual festival doesn't play out like the dream. Despite not having powers, Kiryo is still after our leads. Karin and Kazune get to spend some time together after losing Himeka and Michi, but soon leave the festive fun behind to study the book left behind by the other Kazune. As they're figuring out how this book will help their cause, Kiryo snatches Karin from a helicopter? Where did he get that? Later we learn that Kiryo's original plan was to kidnap Michi and marry him, but settles for Karin instead. Buddy, there are better ways to go about this. Anyway, this isn't legit of course, but Kiryo does keep Karin as a hostage, and during this time she gets to know their Himeka. I think this episode in particular is great at humanizing the other side. In the show and even in conflicts in the real world, I think we get so caught up in our own beliefs and sense of justice that we forget to see that those on the other side are protecting what means the most to them. This is a very general statement that might not be able to be applied to every single conflict ever, but for this show and some relevant conflicts, I think it is at the very least a good point of discussion to open minds. For most of the series, Kiryo is just seen as a silly villain. But as the series progresses, we get to know his motivations and his loved ones, which help both Karin and the audience realize that they're not as different as we were led to believe. Both Kirika and Karin see this and decide to fight together and save both Himekas. However, Kiryo has other plans. He becomes possessed by the Ring of Zeus and loses himself in the pursuit of power, even getting rid of his sister Kirika. Oh yeah, it's revealed that Kirika is a girl, but Karin freaked out only a little bit. Love an open-minded queen. Kazune comes to save Karin, but the two are trapped in Kiryo's house. But Kazune's bird, who can turn into a person, I don't know, does escape to alert the others. As the story progresses, Karin and Kazune are separated. Kiryo disguises himself as Kazune to trick Karin into giving up her ring, but Karin sees through this false Kazune.
Karin.
あなたカズネ君じゃない。
何言ってんだよ。
さっきから虫を怖がってないもん。
She really does love him. Meanwhile, both Michi and Himeka are trying to save Karin and Kazune. Michi is still struggling with summoning his power, but Himeka finds the other Himeka and the two just hang out. Despite the intensity of the last few episodes, their bond is adorable. Before we get into the super big reveal, let's take a commercial break.
来週は新番組「神ちゃまかりん」。かりんちゃんの不思議な指輪だし。だしってなんだ？カツオだし？昆布だし？ タカラトミー。アミュレットハートのニューアイテムアミュレットハートロット。くるくる回してファイナルハート。決まったね。シュゴキラアミュレットハートロットハッピーロックのね。
Okay, now for the big reveal that is kind of hard to explain. Kiryo is fully possessed and is now being controlled by Kirihiko. That's not confusing at all. He was Kazune's father's former research partner. It turns out these god powers were the results of intense studies between the two, but Kirihiko became greedy and wanted to become god. But Kujio tried to stop their research entirely, but not before attempting to find a way to save himself and his lover Suzuka, who is now Karin. Kazune is an incomplete version of Kazuto Kujio, which is why he can't use his powers without hurting himself. Karin is a complete clone, but has very little memory of her past life until this fight. And Himeka is their daughter! Huh? Yeah, this whole conflict with Himeka being split apart is all because Kirihiko somehow hid their research inside Himeka and split her into two. What? You're telling me Kirihiko wanted to become god so bad that he was willing to hurt his colleague's child to keep power. And even then it didn't exactly work? Oh my... what? Huh? Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining this right. Anyway, Kazune remembers everything, but Karin doesn't until this fight. She's mad at Kazune at first for keeping this all a secret, as the two are supposed to be soulmates, but puts those feelings aside to fight alongside her lover. This fight is really intense, and I genuinely felt the love Karin and Kazune have for each other in Himeka. They truly are a family no matter how they're separated. Michi comes to help and gives Karin his ring, giving her more power than ever before. Then, alongside Kazune, the spirit of Kiryu and the Himekas, Kirihiko is defeated. This fight is amazing, but these last few episodes are a little confusing. There's so much wild information thrown at you that you're sitting there going, huh? It's crazy, but the series does such a great job at making you care about the core three characters that I was willing to binge this madness just to make sure everything turned out okay. At the end, both Himekas are okay, Kirika is alive, Kiryu is recovering, and Kazune hasn't been found. It's not until after the credits that we see the two meet again, the same way they did in the first episode. Now, before I discuss my final thoughts, there is one last piece of Kamichama Karin media that I need to discuss. The second manga series titled Kamichama Karin Chu. Kamichama Karin has two manga series. The main one was written years before the anime premiered, but Kamichama Karin Chu was published at the same time as the anime, outlasting it by a few months. Taking place right after the end of the original story, Volume 1 begins with Kazune revealing that he wants to go to England alone. Karin is excited at first, saying she's always wanted to meet Harry Potter, but Kazune informs her that she won't be coming along. Karin isn't happy about this idea and ruins his passport. I love the little fact box at the bottom of the page. Karin continues to try and convince Kazune to stay, but he's acting unusually cold towards her, even with Michi's fake flirting. After some confusing mixed signals from Kazune, it's revealed that Himeka is actually the one studying abroad, and Kazune will just be going with her for a little while to make sure she adjusts to such a big change. Karin shows her support, they almost kiss, but they decide to continue this little exchange when he returns. Karin continues to live her normal life, and soon Kazune returns home. She leaves school early to pick him up, resulting in their usual bickering. Some things never change. As the two fall asleep for the night, Karin has an odd dream, telling her to find all three of them. But what is them? As she awakes, she finds a child between her and Kazune. It's Susun! And he has rings to give her leads. Kazune immediately transforms, but Karin seems to have no effect. Susun also hands Karin a clock, which should aid in their search for the two remaining honored gods. The clock begins to violently shine when the celebrity boy from their school walks by. Kazune throws some misogyny towards Karin before attempting to be a gentleman. I'm disappointed he reverted back to this behavior because it seems like he grew out of it towards the end of the anime. Karin, this isn't cute, you deserve better! Anyway, Kazune fights his way to the ever-so-popular Jin Kuga, and these two do not get along. Jin is somehow even more of a jerk than Kazune, which eventually sets our little blonde boy off. I love this page so much. Jin deserved that. During this fight, Karin wants to help Kazune, and by reversing time she is able to transform. The tone then shifts as Jin excitedly greets Karin, kissing her hand as he claims that she is his goddess. A love triangle! Great! So back at the very beginning of the anime, we can see Karin and Suzune being saved by 3 boys. Kazune, Michi, and a third that doesn't appear in the show. Jin is that third boy, as well as stopping something known as the Seed of Chaos. Although Jin is a fun addition to the group, I don't really care for his obsession with Karin or the love triangle that's present throughout the story. I like the idea of Kazune having a pretty boy rival to keep him humble, but I didn't need that extra layer of possible romance because we already know that Kazune and Karin are soulmates with children. It's a Mamoru versus Seiya debate all over again. You can't set up other love interests if the kids from the future are present and the parents are still together in the future. Although Suzune does hint at Kazune leaving Karin at some point. But again, they need to be together at whatever point in time for Suzune to exist. This is why I hate time travel romance. That being said, some of the time travel stuff is engaging. I was pretty invested in the story when the possibility of future Kazune being dead was thrown on the table. What was even more interesting about Kamichama Karin Chu is the antagonist, Rika, who is another Himeka.
He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward! Are there any other Squidwards I should know about? Meow. I'm out of here.
But evil. She's from the future, of course, and has traveled back to prevent the deaths of Kiryu and Kirika, caused by Kirihiko. Confusing, but I'm loving the continued themes of family. Kamichama Karin keeps that strong. Maybe even a little too strong at times, but the connections between these characters keeps me invested. Good job, Koge Donbo. We'll talk more about you later. Another thing I noticed is how a few casual stories from this book were added to the anime adaptation. Like that guy with the glasses falling for both Karin and Kazune in a wig, or the school play. I think it's neat how some things ended up overlapping. That being said, there are some questionable scenes and outdated language used in this story. Kazune, you can't say that! But if you like the anime or manga, this is an okay continuation. It's a fun mix of regular and magical conflicts, with an emphasis on time travel and mind-bending shenanigans. I like the end of the anime better, but this one isn't horrible. Just feels kind of unserious. The author even apologizes for not planning ahead, and makes little doodles on some pages. Iconic. Speaking of the author, Koge Donbo is the pen name of Kamichama Karin's creator. She also did some design work for Snow Fairy Sugar, which I've made a video about, but you most likely know her for Pita-ten in this Digicat series? Digicharet is an anime franchise that seems to have been very popular. I recognize the cat, but I've never seen anything from this long-running series. A later manga of hers that caught my eye is Doki Doki Tamatan. I looked into it initially because I thought it looked adorable, but according to my anime list, the cast of Kamichama Karin are supporting characters. Only a handful of chapters are available in English, but the dynamic between Tamatan and Nakane is very similar to Karin and Kazune. I would love to read the rest of this because the designs are adorable. Kamichama Karin does not deserve to be defined by one hilarious frame. This show might not be the best looking at times, but Karin has a thrilling story full of twists, and a cast of memorable characters that shouldn't be disregarded because of some unfortunate eyes. I hope this video at the very least gave you a new appreciation of Kamichama Karin, and I hope you'll give the show a chance. Thanks for watching! I've been quite busy with my last semester of college and my new jobs, plural. So I hope you all will be patient with me as I try to have a video schedule that's a mix of what I love and what you've requested the most. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram for cute short content, and lastly, troop on Hopelets, stay adorkable, bye!